Like the phases of the moon, we transition many times as we journey through life. Each phase brings a different energy, trials, tribulations, successes, and opportunities to grow and evolve. If you're looking to bring more consistency into your life, using the energy and phases of the moon is a great way to do this. And fun fact, no matter where you are in the world, the moon is in the same phase for everybody, so it's definitely something you can rely on. As the moon travels through the different phases, the energy might be stressful, transformative, exciting, or a mix of all of them. But a lot of that has to do with your mindset. During this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the basic astronomy and astrology of the 8 phases of the moon, as well as the energy that you might be feeling and some tools to help you possibly work through it. Keep in mind, this energy is not going to be standardized for everybody at all times. You might experience these things at different times, and that's okay. Just think about how you're feeling and then choose your action plans accordingly. For example, during a new moon, that's usually a great time to work on your manifestations, but if you're feeling more emotional, that might be a good time to do a full moon release instead. When we are feeling super stressed out, our body is releasing the stress hormone cortisol. This is released when we are in fight or flight. It makes it really hard to think of long-term, stable goals when your body and brain is focused on short-term survival and success. This is why you hear people saying it's best to manifest or work on your goals when you're in a high vibration state. And on my page, that just means you're producing more dopamine and serotonin. You're also in alignment with your higher self, boss mode is activated, and you are fighting the effects of cortisol. The moon travels around the earth every 29.5 days, and this is known as the lunar month. The calendar month that most of North America follow is called the Gregorian calendar month. And those two calendars don't align with each other. And this is where the dark and black moon theory comes into play. And I don't really play into this for the fact that it takes away the consistency. And the only reason it exists is literally religion versus spirituality. It's not for me. If you're wondering what a dark or black moon is, people think that you shouldn't manifest or do anything when there are 2 new or 2 full moons in one calendar month. But they're talking about the Gregorian calendar month because that doesn't happen in the lunar month. In my strong opinion, I think we should use the lunar month for literally everything. And I think if enough people stand by this, it could be something that happens. A lot of the world uses the lunar calendar. If you don't wish to get super into astrology, that is totally fine. Every new and full moon happen in a specific zodiac sign, which relates to one of the houses. Each house represents an area of your life, and there's 12 areas. And fun fact, these areas have come down to us from Babylonian times almost untouched. So all you need to do is take a look at the new or full moon, figure out which sign it's in and which house it rules over, and look into that area of your life. For example, if there's a new moon in Cancer, Cancer rules over the 4th house of home, past, present, and future. So look into that area of your life. What goals and manifestations would you like to set that'll get you closer to being aligned with your higher self and living your dream life? If it was a full moon in Cancer, you'd take a look at the 4th house and see what you need to release in that area to get closer to your new moon goals in that area. New and full moon will not be in the same zodiac in the same month. If the new moon is in Cancer, the full moon will be in the opposing sign of Capricorn. Let's get into those 8 phases. The first phase we're going to talk about is a new moon. Scientifically, a new moon happens when the sun, the moon, and the earth are in the same ecliptic longitude, and the moon reflects the sunlight back to the sun. Therefore, the lunar disk is not visible to us on Earth, meaning there is no moonlight during a new moon. Spiritually, new moons are about manifestation and new beginnings. This is an exciting time to work on your goals. So this is not only a great time to start planning what you would like to achieve in the next month, but cleansing and clearing your space, partaking into high vibe activities to keep that dopamine and serotonin flowing, hanging out with friends and family, doing things for your community, anything that really keeps that positive energy going and flowing. This is also a great time to perform a new moon manifestation ritual. If you don't know one, I have videos about them on my YouTube channel and TikTok channels. And they focus on connecting with your higher self to figure out what goals you need to set to align with your most authentic, confident version of yourself. The next phase we're talking about is the waxing crescent, and this happens between the new moon and the first quarter. The moon is starting to become illuminated, and this phase is going to last for 6.375 days. The energy of the waxing crescent is inspired action. During the new moon, you set your goals. This is where you start putting the work and taking those steps toward those goals. Opportunities will be presenting themselves to you if you're open to them, of course. So this is why it's important to maintain that high vibration, producing dopamine and serotonin, so you're able to accept these abundances with open arms. Staying in the moment is also really important, and you can do this by practicing gratitude. This also makes it easier for you to spot those opportunities. Then when an opportunity presents itself, if you're in connection with your higher self, all you have to ask yourself is, does this align with my higher self? Yes or no? And then you make your choices accordingly. So this is the time where you make the most out of what is coming your way. And overcoming obstacles helps you increase your vibration and learn the lessons you need to learn to get on the same vibration as those manifestations you're working towards. The next phase of the moon we're going to talk about is the first quarter. At this point, the moon has traveled a quarter of the way around its orbit. That title is kind of confusing though, because the moon will appear half illuminated to us on Earth. The northern hemisphere is going to see the right side illuminated, and the southern hemisphere is going to see the left. Spiritually, the first quarter is about strength and perseverance. The moon is in its yang phase, and this is where you keep pushing and overcoming those obstacles to get towards your goals. You may be experiencing some extra rough bumps, so this is a great time to check in with your higher self and your goals and make sure that they're still in alignment. Remember, it's definitely okay to change your mind, but don't let these hiccups take you off the road. Remember, a lot of times we need to learn a few lessons to get where we need to go. Make sure during this phase you're staying action-oriented. There's time to rest in upcoming phases. The next phase we're talking about is the waxing gibbous. The moon is becoming fully illuminated during this time, and this phase is going to last for 6.375 days. The energy of the waxing gibbous is hard work and development. As you head towards your manifestations and you're overcoming obstacles, it's important to remember that we only have control over our mindset and our responses to these situations. We don't really have control over those situations. As the moon heads into its full moon phase, the waxing gibbous gives you a chance to focus on staying in flow and releasing your need for control. This will allow you to continue that forward momentum. And just a warning, you may be tested more than usual at this point. This is just to make sure. Are you ready? Are you ready for what you have manifested? If you are experiencing heavy emotions, this is a great time to take out your shadow workbook and take note of them. You don't necessarily have to work through them right now. You can do that during the full moon. But taking note of them is very important. And make sure you keep practicing gratitude and doing those high vibe activities. Taking care of your body, mind, and soul will counteract the cortisol that is being produced by the stress that you're probably experiencing getting over those obstacles. We are now in the full moon phase, and scientifically, a full moon happens when the sun, the earth, and the moon are in the same ecliptic longitude, and the moon reflects the sunlight back to the earth. The moon now appears fully illuminated, and though it appears this way for around 3 days, it actually is only full for a brief moment. Spiritually, full moon energy can be really heavy, and statistically, there are even more people in the ER during this time. So this is a great time to work on releasing limiting thoughts and behavior patterns you have, so you can release space and get closer to your manifestations if you haven't already achieved them. If you took note of emotions and you were wanting to do work on shadow work, this is a great time to do that. So make sure you're also practicing a lot of self-care. During the last 2 weeks after the new moon, you probably spent a lot of your energy working towards your goals and overcoming obstacles. So it's important to refill your cup. This is also a great time to purge items you no longer need out of your house, so cleansing and clearing your space. I also like to take care of a doom box. I also do that in the new moon too. And for anybody wondering what that is, that's a place that things go that don't have a place. And if you do one during the new and full moon, you'll get ahead of them. I got ahead of them. I was very shocked when it happened. This is also a great time to release with love relationships that are no longer feeling good. Remember, does this align with your higher self, yes or no? For me, my higher self is calm, non-reactive, emotionally and financially independently secure, persistent, consistent, and a guide. I cannot be in relationships with people that do not allow me to be my full, authentic, confident self. We're now in the waning gibbous phase, and the moon is going from 99.1% illumination to 50.1%. The word gibbous refers to the oval shape that it appears to us on Earth. And the moon will be traveling through this phase for 6.375 days. The energy of the waning gibbous is that of communication and healing. So unlike the waxing gibbous where the energy was outwards, this is an inwards type of energy. If you're working on releasing what's holding you back from your manifestations, taking a look at the emotions that you noted during those last 2 weeks and during the full moon, and start working on creating action plans to start releasing those and retraining your brain. Just like the full moon, working on shadow work is highly recommended during this time. So taking a look at the thoughts and behavior patterns that you have that you need to release so you can get closer to your manifestation. Energy might feel slower than normal at this time, but remember that the work you put in now is actually what puts your manifestations into overdrive. This is also a great time to set and communicate boundaries that align with your higher self and allow you to be your most confident, authentic self. Some heavy emotions from the full moon may still be lingering, so making sure that you're doing activities that produce dopamine and serotonin will counteract the effects of cortisol. We're now into the last quarter, also known as the third quarter, and the moon is again half illuminated. The moon has now traveled 3/4 away around its orbit, and just like the new and the full moon and the first quarter, this phase only lasts for a brief moment. The energy of the last corner is release, transition, and responsibility. Taking control of your mindset through shadow work and other healing modalities is going to allow you to move into these new chapters and phases in your life a little easier. Releasing energies that no longer serve you brings space for you to bring new energy in, including those manifestations you've been working on. As you heal, grow, and change and overcome obstacles, your vibration changes, so make sure that you're continually looking into different areas of your life to see what you need to adjust. And if you're looking to become more consistent, again, each one of these phases will be in a specific zodiac sign. You can check which house that zodiac rules, and you can do it that way. I personally just stick with the new and the full moon, but you are more than welcome to work with every single phase. And this is where you're going to start noticing partial or full shifts in your progress. And the last phase before the new moon is the waning crescent, and this one's going to last again for 6.375 days. And only a small sliver of the moon is going to be illuminated for us here on Earth. And the energy of the waning crescent is contemplation, celebration, and personal growth. The waning gibbous in the last quarter are about releasing and healing. However, this phase is about acknowledging yourself as a whole and celebrating how far you've come. This is also a good time to just fine-tune any last habits and structures you have in your life so you can get ready again for the forward momentum that is the new moon. And you may feel like the energy is moving slowly at this time. Remember, sometimes walls appear so we can lean on them. So take this time again to fill up your cup, recharge your batteries, do self-care, get out in nature, keep aligning that body, mind, and soul. And make sure you take some time to treat yourself for all the hard work you've done. I've just talked about 29.5 days of energy and progress. So make sure you just take a break and bask in your glory. You deserve it, my kings, queens, and in-between bees. And then we head back into the new moon and start it all over again. So each phase has a different guiding energy that you can use to ensure that you are not only consistently working towards your goals, but you're doing it in a healthy way. You don't need to climb the mountain all at once. When there's a new and full moon, you don't need to take a look at every single area of your life and make goals in all of those areas. That's how it gets overwhelming. So take a look. What zodiac sign is the new and full moon in? Which house does it rule over? What area of your life is that? And what goals do you need to set, or what do you need to release in those areas? You can really keep it as simple as that. And if you're looking for more information about the moons, about moon events, dark moons, full descriptions of my new and full moon manifestation and release rituals, make sure you check out my Moon Phases Guided Journal. I have digital copies available now. Ebooks have been released. Check out my website. I also have physical copies. They look like this. You can get them on Amazon and you can get them in my shop. So they give you the description of the phases that I just talked about, as well as a guided journal for you to work through the phases, just like I talked about. As a full-time business owner of over 9 years with ADHD, I sometimes find it hard to keep consistent. But since I started posting about the moon on my TikTok and started sticking with this schedule, not only have I been more consistent in my life, but I've been able to crush so many amazing goals, including becoming a full-time self-published author. That's been a dream of mine since I was a kid, and I've accomplished that in less than 6 months. So no matter what your goals are, no matter what you want to achieve, consistency is definitely the key. And nothing changes if nothing changes. So you just need to ask yourself, what is one thing that I can do right now that gets me closer to my goals? And just ask yourself that as much as you can. If you have any questions about the moon and the phases, make sure you drop them in the comments. P.S. You cute today. Love ya!